Hey,
Yay!
We're here. We're here. We're here.
here we are. It doesn't look like a lot of people yet, but pretty soon I think people will start showing up.
Mhm.
So,
Yeah, they're trying to finish their stuff.
welcome to Golden Girls. It's Marina as Sophia, Sherry as Blanche, and me as Dorothy. And we are talking politics today.
Yeah, we are.
And there's so much stuff.
So,
There is so much stuff going on. First of all, let's just take a breath here. And it's only been Trump has only been in office for 10 days. It feels like a year.
Yes, it does.
it was more like 10 years.
It's just craziness. And
Yeah.
he is so demented. He doesn't know what he's doing. One day he's cutting off all the benefits to everybody, and then the next day is like, oh no, never mind, not doing that. Whoops! And I mean, and he just keeps doing this kind of stuff. So
I know. And his press secretary apparently got herself into some hot water because when they announced that they were cutting off or shutting off all these programs, there was several organizations who took it to court and said, no, you can't do this.
right.
Well, she actually, I think, sent a tweet or a post or something saying, no, it's just the memo that we're rescinding. We're not rescinding what we're going to do. Well, the judge who was hearing the case said, well, I was going to say maybe we need to look at it on a case by case basis, but given your tweet, yeah, injunction goes in place.
Yeah.
So I said to my son, that's too bad. She really liked that job, And he said, do you think she lasted a half a Scaramucci or a whole Scaramucci? Yeah, we'll see what happens with her.
Yeah, really.
Yeah.
She's really young and doesn't know what she's doing at all. And already she's had some run-in with some reporters, and they're just like, oh, wait a minute, what are you talking about? They can't figure out what she's talking about. She doesn't know what she's talking about. I mean, it's just really getting to be a mess. Well, it was from the get-go.
Very farcical, to say the least. I mean, it's like Donald Trump keeps he just retweeted or put something out on his Twitter, as somebody that I like to watch calls it. Um Evidently he believes that Northern California has a big giant spigot that you turn off and turn on to get water in California.
The water in California.
And so he was convinced that New Scum, as he calls it, had turned the spigot off. And so he announced that he had sent the U.S. military into California to go turn the spigot back on. And you're welcome, California. The water's now coming to you. And I'm like, does this man really, honest to God, believe this crap? And it's the people, it's people that believe it. And there are folks saying there's no spigot. It doesn't work like that. I mean, even the military was like, we didn't go turn water on. What are you talking about?
Maybe it was the spigot that was in Canada up in BC that he got confused with Northern California.
Maybe that's it. I don't know, but
oh Lord Almighty.
Yeah, I was just when I read that, I was like, no, wait a minute, I have to reread this. Is that what is he really? And everybody's like,
I thought it was
it's a lie.
I thought it was something from The Onion.
Well, yeah. It can't be true. Oh, but it is. But it is. Yeah.
Well, we've got a few people that have shown up here today. We've got Shaikoff, Mimi, and Roseanne. Hi, you guys. Annette, Viviani. No, excuse me, Vivian. Barbara, Moonstone Girl, Annette, Coyote, Coyote. Oh, and there's Sherry. She's in there.
He's just doing a request.
Moonchild, Jules. Just so many people here.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're doing good.
They're coming in.
Thanks
right?
for coming out.
Yay.
Linda, Kathy Parsons, oh my God. Annette Hamstreet, Maureen Damico, Jules Niner, Acadian Proud, holy. Lovely.
Yeah, there's my Cajun cuz.
Uh-huh. And Cleo, she's got a good question at 7:05 p.m. At least on my, yeah. It says,
Who are you looking for?
Acadian Proud.
Okay.
At 7:05. There you go. Yeah.
Why can't I store these? Oh, there it is. Never mind.
Yeah.
All right. I wonder, do you think one of the reasons that Trump is so anti-DEI could possibly have to do with the fact that two women who went after him as prosecutors happen to also be Black? No, I think his problem is that he's just racist to the core.
Yeah.
That would be my guess of why Trump is such a complete asshole.
Yep. He just,
as Marina was saying, any day now I expect to hear the N-word coming out of his mouth, and like it's no big deal.
Well, I think that, dementia is catching up with the orange moron, and
yes.
it just
Yeah, you think? Yeah.
Yeah.
And the way he's throwing out all these new things and stopping this and then restarting that, and really making a mess out of things. And I just keep thinking back to everybody telling me, well, or reading or about other people, especially on Facebook, just give him a chance. I'm thinking a chance. He was president for 4 years. He did a horrible job then. And you're telling me to give him a chance now? Okay, fine. Look what he has done in just 10 days. 10 days. It feels like forever that he has been, probably because he was campaigning for the 4 years before that. So, yeah, I mean, this man is about to ruin the country, and he's probably gonna do it
sooner rather than later. And the thing is that he, the things that he has done have affected his supporters, and they are very quickly learning that, you know what, you effed around, welcome to the find out stage. So, like the woman who was bemoaning that, well, I'm on disability and I'm on food stamps and I'm on, I'm on this and I'm on that, and he's going to cut all that off. And they're telling me that I have to go work 35 hours a week if I want to maintain my benefits. Well, I got 6 kids. Honey, you voted for that. You said you wanted that. Did you think for some reason that you were that special to him that he said, oh, this applies to everyone? Oh, except you, Delphine, in, northern whatever. It doesn't apply to you.
Well, I don't think that the Trump supporters were listening when we all told, well, especially to the psychics. I mean, they're probably not listening to us anyway, but that everybody tried to tell them that Project 2025 is real. This is what Trump's going to do. And although he comes out and blatantly lies to us and says, I'm not even sure what it is. I'm not, it has nothing to do with
good ideas. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
I don't know what it is.
Ridiculous. It's asinine. And as long as we're on the subject, I did want to bring up today, because I guess a lot of people already know this, but it just came to me in the last few days. And that is, we have been saying stuff like we're going through this process because we've got to learn something.
Yeah.
And that is still true, except it's not us. It's them. It's the mega people that have to learn something. Unfortunately, we have to get caught in the wake of their to learn to catch up. But I do see a moment in time where they are going to be. It's going to be in their face about what's going on with Trump and how this is why this got so out of control. And I shouldn't say this because I know my timing is always off, but I do feel like something big will be happening by March. But
or sooner.
I know that I've talked about this before about, we got to learn this stuff and we've got to go through this process and blah, blah, blah. No, I just want you guys to know that all you people that, are in the light and what the truth is, and you're probably either a Democrat or at least you're for democracy, that it is not us that has to learn this lesson. We already know it. We live it. That's that's who we are.
We're just being drug along behind.
Yeah, we are. We are. We have to, it's going to be painful. Especially, and I think part of what Trump is doing is just showing us right from the get-go, this is the kind of power I have. I can take away your money. I can take away your food. I can take away your health insurance. I can take away your just everything, that he has complete control.
Yes. And Cleo, I think that his brain doesn't quite get to that stage of I have absolute power and I can take it all away. He's still in wanting to get revenge. He's still in revenge mode. He's still mad as hell that one, he lost.
Yes.
Two, he got called to count for it. Three, he got hauled into court and convicted for crimes committed. And it's so beyond his capability of understanding that he, of all people, has to actually pay for the crimes he's committed. And instead of his party standing up to him and being righteous citizens and saying, no, dude, busted, you're done, you're out of here. Oh no, they're going to run around behind him and kiss his behind and tell him how wonderful he is.
To line their pockets. They all see an opportunity to line their pockets.
Oh yeah, this is the oligarchy.
That's what they're doing. So when the people finally do wake up, and they are waking up quickly, and they're finding that they're not getting too much sympathy from other folks. Like
watch the FAFO videos on YouTube. They are freaking hilarious.
Yes, they are. And we tried to tell you, we tried to warn you, we asked you to think. You called us snowflakes and told us that we were out to lunch. Okay, then, in the words of David from Tarot by the Bay, fine. Let's do it your way. And oh well, they came into my house and they knocked out the cameras and they deported my wife. They pulled my wife out of the house and they deported her. She was working on her paperwork, and come on, Mr. Trump, if you can do something about this. When he said, I'm going to get rid of the illegals, what made you think that he was thinking about and talking about everybody but your wife?
That's right.
Sorry about your luck. Who's going to make you dinner now?
And he's also trying to just get rid of every single thing Biden did for us, and
just like he did with Obama's things.
Well, and he's even going back to the thing with Obama. I mean, just like it doesn't matter what happens. He turns it into a thing of Biden did this, Biden did that, and we all know that what they've said about Biden all along is a lie. But these other people, the Trumpsters, They don't know that. They believe this. So, I was looking at some of the responses that I've gotten on Facebook, and I'm like, these are people that I went to school with, to high school with. These are good people, but they are just so entrenched with Trump. I mean, and I'm like, how can that be? I still don't get how it can be, but that is what the problem is these people are just blindly following Trump, and he's like herding the sheep to the slaughterhouse. I mean, he just
And it's not like they're ignorant people.
no,
A lot of these people are intelligent,
they're
highly intelligent.
yes, yeah, really good people, worked hard all their lives, have families and grandkids, and and I'm like, whoa, what are you guys doing? But I have to be very careful. I've decided to just treat them with kindness, and not
That's all we can.
not say anything negative, because that's not going to get anywhere. And I have
No.
found their response to be positive also. As long as I'm like, hey, I'm, whatever you're talking about, I'm with you. But I won't go overboard. I won't say Trump is doing anything right, but I'm not going to tell him Trump's doing anything wrong, because I'm thinking, if you don't get it by now, if you don't see it in front of your face, which you guys are telling me right now that some people are starting to see this. Some people that are getting deported are like, oh my God, like you said, there goes my wife. She's being herded to an airplane and taken to who knows where. By the way, I love the way Colombia kind of, Colombia came back and said, hell no, we're not taking these people. And then Trump said, okay, slapping a big tariff on you for all your coffee. And everybody was like, uh-oh, there goes Starbucks. And, so then they said, okay, no, big mistake. All right, we're going to come back. We're going to fly over there and pick those people up and bring them back home. So that worked out well. But then with Canada, oh my, we got some problems. And it's just amazing to me that Trump is going after Canada the way he is, and Mexico. And this is coming up on Saturday. Those tariffs are going to be in place on the February 1st. So, and I was just talking to Marina about this. I said, I see somebody said they wanted to, somebody from Canada with the, it's got the power, said they wanted to flip the switch on that electricity that they're giving to the United States. Well, I mean, we pay for it, but the electricity of the United States. And I'm like, Yahoo, do it, please, please, please. It's going to take something like that to light a match under the Congress.
It is because there is a good deal of wealth that is concentrated in New York. And in the areas around New York, because, it's been that the eastern seaboard has been occupied by people for a very long time. So yes, there is a good deal of wealth that is there. As much as we need to have the Trump supporters sit up and take notice of what is going on, we also need some of those oligarchs to, have their wallets lightened by a little bit. Like,
Just a little bit.
That you're going to have to, you can't do business for 3 or 4 days because your offices in New York don't have any power. Your people can't get to work. So, you're going to lose some things.
Well, really, what would happen to the stock market? What would happen to the stock market with no electricity?
Exactly.
Hey, ask Texas. They know all about what it's like to not hook into the national grid and go on their own. And what happened? They had a big freeze like we did last week, and they went offline and didn't have anybody to fall back on to help. It's like, yeah.
It was one of our previous Prime Minister, Jean Chrétien, who I think that it was just recently his 90th birthday or 91st birthday. Anyway, And he was asked about, the Trump threatening tariffs, and he said, well, of course it wouldn't be a good thing. Of course it would hurt Canada, yes, but at the same time, we are not powerless. We have things that we could do as well. So, what kind of game do you want to play? And, if you want to play tit for tat, okay, we'll do that. It's going to hurt you as much as it's going to hurt us. It's a matter of who gives up first. Do you think
Yeah.
we're going to give up first? We're used to the cold. We're okay with dealing with it. You're not. and maybe this time, Trump needs to be reminded that, we marched on Washington in 1812. And we burned a lot of things down, but half the White House was left standing. Entertainment purposes only. I'm just repeating history. What if it repeats itself and this time it's razed to the ground?
Let's remember that Canada has supplied electricity to, I think it's like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 or 9 or 10 states over on the eastern side of the country since 1909. That's 116 years that Canada has done this for us.
Yes.
And there's never been a problem. But when Trump jumps up and says, 25% tariff because you're letting illegals in from your country, which, first of all, I didn't even know that was a problem.
It isn't a problem. He made it up. It doesn't exist.
No, it doesn't. Okay, well, no wonder I didn't know
he
that.
just pulled that out of his ass somewhere. Nobody knows where it came from.
And it's the same thing, about, well, fentanyl is coming into the U.S. from from across Canada. No, it's not. Fentanyl is coming into the U.S. from the U.S. If U.S. consumers stopped using fentanyl, there would be no demand for it to come in. And if we want to talk about who's coming where, the illegal drugs or the illegal guns that are coming into Canada are all coming in from the U.S.
Yeah.
They're not coming in from China. They're not coming in from Mexico. They're not coming in from Europe. They're coming in from the U.S. So
President Scheinbaum said the same thing. She said, look, the drugs and the guns that are coming into Mexico, she says, that's coming from y'all. That's not coming from us.
Exactly.
So, you need to get your act together and stop your drug running and your illegal arms running into my country.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, it's about damn time.
Isn't that just coming in on an airplane? I mean, who knows what country it's coming from? I think it's coming in on airplanes. Just like a lot of the immigrants are coming in on airplanes.
Yes.
But, he is
first class, I hear. Anyway, like,
but this idea of, he wants to take, what is it? What's that place?
Greenland?
Guantanamo Bay, is that what it is?
Guantanamo Bay, yes, Open
He wants to do that. He wants to turn this into a concentration camp. And just like the Jews, let's take all the immigrants and put them in this one place. And that is just absolutely wrong.
That's horrifying, especially considering that just a couple of days ago, what was it, Monday, was the 90th, 80th anniversary of the Holocaust, of the freedom from Auschwitz. I mean, I met a lady who was tattooed, who survived Auschwitz. She was the only member of her entire family that survived Auschwitz. She lost everybody that she knew. And at that point, it's like, really? That's who you want to fashion us after, is people that did that kind of stuff? I mean, it's beyond
children. His own grandchildren are Jewish. His daughter is Jewish.
Well, her husband is.
Well, and his children are all anchor babies, with the exception of the middle girl. What's her name?
Tiffany. She's the
Tiffany.
only one that is
She's the
truthful.
only American. The rest of his children are all anchor
Yeah.
babies.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah, and there's so many different things um, that that he is putting out there, calling out, that are, it's like one is more impossible, improbable than the next. And while I know that it does scare some people, I know that it does, and I appreciate that, and I can tell you to, be positive, be strong, all I want. The For
it
some
doesn't.
people, that fear is real, and I don't want to,
No,
make light of it. Um, at the same time, I think if we turn our thinking kind of on its head and say, all these things that he's doing, all the people that he's putting in place that are so absolutely unsuited to their positions, it is just going to anger his base that much quicker. We may not need to do anything but just sit back and watch his base take him out.
Yeah, he might be stepping in his own stuff. The
Yes.
just like this latest thing, this tragedy with the airplane and a helicopter, and
Yes.
all the people perished and went into the Potomac River. It just a horrible, horrible thing. And I love that, Trump comes out. The first thing he says is he blames it on anybody, and just starts pointing fingers and
Yeah.
anything that, that he can drag the Biden's laws or whatever that Biden put together, and it does nothing to do with that, and that just pissed me off. Now he has come back on now and talked about, that we lost some great souls or something, and at least
It's
he
too late.
finally acted like an adult.
But it's too
Uh,
late. His
but
first
yeah.
instinct is to be mean, nasty, and cruel.
well, had he said the most outrageous things? Hold on here a minute.
Yeah.
That the other politicians are just like, they just can't believe it. He said that the crash was because the FAA hires women or black people. That's what caused the crash. Now, when he said that, let's see if I got my notes here. God, just amazing. They called him, other lawmakers called him grotesque, outrageous, downright disgusting, absolutely shameful, despicable, absolutely vile, a racist, a sexist, un-American, pathetic. Now, when those people start talking, these are our other politicians, the Congress people, and the senators. When they start saying these kind of things about Trump, there's other people behind them that are agreeing with this because it's just
Oh
so
yeah.
the line. And
Yes.
this accident that happened when these two collided and stuff. It's just a terrible, terrible thing. And for him to say something as ridiculous as the people that are and working for the FAA had some part in this. I think probably what happened is there was either a one of the
They
control.
said there was a shortage of the people that work up at the tower. They
Okay.
help direct all the traffic. There was
Oh,
a shortage,
terrible.
and then he just fired a bunch more. So there
Yes.
weren't enough people there to do their job. And
So that might have
yeah,
been part of it. Also, I'm wondering if the helicopter itself didn't have some mechanical issues because you can see
very
it
well
coming
could.
in and it doesn't try to get off target. It doesn't do anything to try to get away from it. And I'm thinking, I bet they were trying like crazy not to hit that plane. And
Yeah. Well, they were
and
out doing night maneuvers, night exercise training. So
okay.
apparently, yeah, they did have their night vision on and whatnot. it is entirely possible that maybe there was something mechanical with it. It's entirely possible that there might have been something mechanical on the aircraft. The thing is, you don't automatically come out, and instead of offering sympathy and comfort to the lives lost, and say, well, it's because of the women and the Black people that were there. They weren't hired yesterday, right? They didn't just start on the job. They have been there for quite some time. But yeah, you start firing people. You start there. There's a lot of pushback that is happening behind the scenes, like a lot of the federal workers that he has offered. Well, 7 months severance and whatnot if you retire early, and so on and so. Trump does not offer severance, even if he doesn't have to pay for it. He wants his hands on all the American dollars. So anybody, and I'll step out on a limb, if you take one of those offers, you're going to find that 7 months is going to be taxed at a very, very high rate, number one. Number two, he's going to give it to you in probably 7 small monthly payments that he may or may not decide to cut off after 2 or 3 months. Because
I have heard that. Yeah, even if he says that, don't believe him, don't trust him, because you can't. You cannot trust him.
No.
This whole thing that he's trying to do, part of me says, is he just doing it just to show that he can and it could happen? Or is he doing it because he's just so off his rocker that he does something and then he goes, oh, whoops, maybe I shouldn't have done that. And then he goes back, never mind, psych. And then
I think it's a combination of both, because there's nothing, he pronounces something and there isn't anyone who approaches him or talks to him beforehand and says, okay, you can't do this. This, no matter how much you want to say black is white, you can't do that. You can't say that. Don't go out there. There's going to be pushback and, people are going to turn against you. But nobody does that. Everybody is like, oh, well, I'm part of the administration. I'm loyal. Let me prove my loyalty to you. Of course, I'll repeat the lie. Of course, I'll say anything that you want me to say.
Yeah.
So, well, another thing he's been doing is trying to act like that what happened on January 6th, he's trying to make it legitimate. And for some reason, he's getting Zuckerberg ends up paying him $25 million for kicking him off of Facebook. And some TV station, somebody, who was it?
ABC, I think it was. Yeah, ABC.
George Stephanopoulos, whatever his name is, that he had said that, that he was a rapist. And so now they paid him like $15 million for that. And he's trying to legitimize the whole thing. Like, see, it always has been a political thing, political ploy to ruin his campaign and to keep him out of office. And this was all a setup. No, it was not a setup. No, he just didn't win. We really lucked out, because I really believe that he had there was election interference from Russia and Trump during the 2020 election. I know for a fact it was in 2016. He thought he could do the same thing in 2020. It didn't work. He got so pissed off that he just turned it into a thing. But then he just kept saying the lies over and over and over and over for years, to where you've got a bunch of people that liked him in the first place for some odd reason. And, and then they're just totally, they just can't see beyond anything but him. And
well, people think they know him because he was on TV and in their living rooms for how many years, from The Apprentice and Celebrity Apprentice and all of those shows. And of course,
He's a self-made
the
man.
networks, the producers that put that show together, they worked very hard to give off the image that he was this rich business mogul who hired and fired people at the drop of a hat because he knew what he was doing. When in actuality, they had to go in and create the boardroom and stuff where they filmed, because they said that the furniture and stuff in the building when they went to first start setting up to film was so old and so falling apart and raggedy that no one would believe he was this billionaire, and that he didn't have anything to do with the show. He would show up for these little short clips and he would come in and say, "You're fired," or whatever. He's not the one that made that decision. The only
Well,
time he ever made a decision on any of those is if someone of color was winning the competition, and then he would speak up and say, oh no, we can't have the black girl win. That's not going to happen. Pick somebody else." And they would. I mean, that's what I don't understand is all the people that just blindly follow along with them.
because well, he was on The Apprentice. He was an actor. As
Yes.
president, he's still an actor. He does
Yes.
not know
Yeah.
how to be president. And so when my friends on Facebook say give him a chance, I'm like, what? A chance to destroy the country? A chance to destroy democracy? And they're like, no, that's not what
He's not going to do that. He's
no,
not going
it's
to
because
deport my
Biden
wife.
did so many things wrong, and that really irritates me. I have to back off when they start with that because I know
Yeah.
that's not true, and it's been proven over and over again. But it's because Trump just keeps bringing down, talking about how Biden did this and that wrong, and that's why we're in trouble. Biden didn't secure the border. We had less people coming over the border than we have in years under Biden.
Yep.
Biden left Trump with the best economy that he could have ever hoped for after he destroyed it
Yes.
back in 2016.
Yes.
It's just amazing to me that he just
And
keeps getting away with
excellent
this.
job numbers.
Which
There's a lot.
I keep thinking you cannot base a presidency on lies. It's going to catch up to you. You're going to eventually be taken out. He's eventually going to be taken out one way or the other.
Somebody that I heard online, and they they were talking about that they had a conversation with a friend of theirs who's kind of up in the higher ups of the military group of all the different branches that get together and decide, how we're going to handle certain situations. And that there were serious discussions going around this room about how do we take them out and not make it look like we took them out.
Mhm.
And it's like, okay, this is getting serious now when your military leaders are starting to look for ways to get rid of the leader. And I think one of the mistakes that we made in this country after 9/11, for how many years did we see ad nauseum the videos and the interviews and everything about 9/11 and who was behind it, except that instead of somehow it magically went from being the Arabians that were behind it, that it was the Iraqis behind it. I've yet to understand how they were able to flip that script. But anyway, but they showed it over and over and over and over again. I mean, to the point that anytime I would turn on the TV, if I saw something on TV about it, I would literally scream and turn the television off because it was just constantly pushed in our face over it. After J6, we didn't do that. We didn't show over and over and over again what they did. We didn't show the aftermath of what the rotunda and the offices looked like, and the crap smeared on the walls, the human feces that they smeared on the walls of Congress. We didn't show it. We didn't saturate people with those images because we were trying to be better than that. But I think that wound up being a mistake because then they were able to turn it around and make it like, well, it was just tourists, they were just coming through. Nobody did anything bad.
It was a peaceful protest.
It was like,
Yeah.
did we watch two different episodes? I mean, what fantasy world are you from? I watched it live
Yeah.
on CNN and MSNBC, going back and forth. Hell, I watched it live from Fox. I would switch over to them sometime. It was like, no, this there was nothing peaceful about what they did. I mean,
Yeah.
and I think that was one of the mistakes we made, is that we didn't saturate everybody with those images and what happened to make them understand that, yes, this really happened. This is what this man did. And so you had a whole bunch of people, millions of people, who believed it was all made up by the Democrats, or that it was all just trying to pick on him, instead of actually seeing and understanding what really happened. And
don't forget, Sherry, too, that a lot what he did, and I think part of his allure to a lot of people was that he gave them permission to say the quiet parts out loud,
yeah,
to things that they would normally think twice about. He gave them permission to do that. He gave them permission to be mean and cruel and vindictive, and
yep,
start with the name calling and all that. Now a lot of them are coming around to seeing that maybe they've been hoodwinked, but now, are they going to now stand up and say, oh my God, I know that I called you snowflake, and I know that I was really, really cruel and mean to you, but I see now that you were right. No, it's like anything else. It has to get a little worse before it gets better. So now they're kind of digging their heels in and saying, no,
hmm
no, no, he's my president. I believe in him. I believe in him. And the
it's
more
that
that,
cognitive dissonance in their
yes, it
brain.
is. Yes, it is. And that the more that they see that, when he's talking about taking away those entitlements that everybody paid for, like pension, the government doesn't just give you a pension because they feel like it. You have contributed to that pension with every dollar
It's
you
your
have
damn
earned.
money.
It's your money. It's
That's
not
right.
an entitlement, right? So when he starts pulling back on those things, and they realize that even, yeah, we gave him a chance, and we did this and we did that, and I marched for him and I canvassed for him, and all of a sudden, yeah, I have no food stamps, I have no social security, I have no Medicare, I don't have these things coming in. Well, who took it away from you? Come on, sweetheart, tell me, who was it? Was it Joe Biden before he left office? Did he take that from you? Or was it the guy that you voted for? When you get to that point, it's not a case of, okay, you realize it now, let me save you. It's, okay, you see the error of your ways. How are you going to fix it? It's
Yeah,
like someone who spends and spends and spends and overspends, and you come in and you bail them out a few times, but they don't learn the lesson until you say, I can't bail you out. You have to find a way out yourself. When
yeah,
they go through that struggle, then they get it. And that is what a lot of them are starting to go through and will go through and will have to go through. Unfortunate thing is, yeah, like Cleo said, there is a lot of innocent people that are going to be kind of swept up in that. And our job going forward is to be that shining beacon, that when you're ready to say, Yes, hi, my name is so and so, and I'm an alcoholic. Then we can welcome you into the fold, and then we can help work with you to go forward. But until you get to that point where you're able to admit that, you know what, I did this. Not I was duped into it, not I was lied into it, but there was information out there that I willfully chose to ignore. And I need to take responsibility for that. When that happens, that's when we move forward. That's when we can say, okay, now let's build the world that we want to live in. But it's a hard lesson. It's a hard lesson.
Yeah, it is. So I like what Garden Genie has brought up. Will the courts hold up the stay and keep the money flowing to the people that need it? You know, and not just the courts. I am so happy to see that many governors across the country are standing up and saying, whoa, 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 wait a minute. I mean, our new governor, he is just like, he's doing all the right things. He was attorney general before he was governor. So he knows how to handle these things in the court. And we've also got a new attorney general in our state. And this guy is great. And then, they immediately went after him about the birthright thing for
citizenship.
for citizenship. And they're going for it. Then I also saw Tim Walz from whatever state he's the governor of. And
Nebraska, Wisconsin,
I think.
Could be
I don't know.
Iowa. I don't know. One of those Midwest.
Not Iowa, but he came on and he just called bullshit on it. He just said, "This is bullshit."
Yes,
it's not mincing words. Then this had to do with him with Trump all of a sudden stopping all the finances for Medicaid and food stamps and
Minnesota.
all of this stuff. And I mean, it's just, I think, we thank God for these governors. I mean, they're coming together and trying to do the right thing. And I think that there's other people in Congress and in the Senate who are also going to say, enough is enough.
Minnesota, that's where he was from. Minnesota.
Minnesota. Okay. And being a good farm boy, he knows, he's not saying words. And he was mad. He was mad as hell because when you stop money coming into the state for services that's already happened, and now you're not going to pay for it like you have all along because you're trying to cut the budget, because you're trying to make it so your rich, super rich friends don't have to pay as much tax. Yeah, no, this is where people are going to be, no, we're not going to go for this. So I do have faith in some of the other people in the country that are going to stop this. I also see, and I know other psychics have talked about this, that there is going to be something come down the pike here. I'm thinking hopefully by March, but boy, I tell you, my timing's always off. But that, other countries are going through a similar thing of what we're going through, but I think other countries know what how the vote was rigged, and I think they have proof on this. Now, my question is who do they go to? Do they go to Kamala? Do they go to Joe Biden? Who do they bring this to? Because they can't go to Trump with it because he is the criminal. He is he's the traitor. He has sold out the country, and he's also cheated, and blatantly so, but he's pretty sure he will not be caught. I think there's some stuff, and it probably goes way beyond that because Spirit won't tell me exactly what it is because it said it's so big, it's so huge.
Yes.
And that, again, they're telling me you're going to be in for a shocker, And
I think they're going to have to start with going to the public. Just get in front of whatever camera and microphone that will film them and just take it public and just, F whoever's around. this needs to be said. Here are the facts. This is what we know. This is what we found. And they did it in your country too. And they did it in this country, in that country, in the other country. I think that if they just start getting it out into the public, then the public is going to step back and go, well, wait a minute. I thought our elections were safe. You're saying they're not safe. No, they're not. Because they've been messing with those for decades now. They're not safe.
I I think that the world courts, I can't remember what those are called, but and also NATO, they're not going to maybe come in the United States and say all this stuff. What they're going to do is somebody
ICC
and attempted to arrest Donald Trump, arrest the attorneys that have been doing all this stuff, arrest Musk, Elon Musk, because they are all corrupt, and I don't think it will be a thing of just letting a little bit of information filter in.
No, they're gonna have to blast it out.
Well, I think they'll have to go right to Congress or right to the Senate and let them know this is what we got going on. Then all those people run to Trump and say, "Hey, they got this stuff. Is there any truth to it?" And Trump will know. Yes, they got. He would be busted, and that's when people are also thinking he's going to go hop on his plane and go to Saudi Arabia or something.
It's Epstein's plane.
Yeah,
it's not his plane.
Chances are that he, he is locked out of the White House, and the information that will come out, it will be shocking. Not only in terms of the depth of the fraud and the things that have been happening, but also in terms of the people involved. And I'll warn you folks right now that there are going to be several well-known, well thought of Democrats that are going
absolutely
to the ship, and that is going to be the kind of, oh my God, are you kidding me?
Greed is greed, and it doesn't matter what letter you put after your name or what color you want to claim that you are. It's greed. It's a greed for power, a greed for money, a greed for control. And that's a sickness that it doesn't play favorites, and it doesn't play on just one side of the aisle or the other.
It's all about the money. It's all about the money, and I don't totally understand what's going on with the money, but it's Russia. Russia really wants to control the world, and they want to do it by controlling the money. And I don't, like I said, I don't totally understand the whole thing, but yes, it's
a lot of it is Putin hates the West.
Yes,
he hates us to a level that I think most people do not even comprehend, and he will do anything in his power to bring us down. Well, and that's been the main goal of his life for a long time.
Trump already told him, "Hey, don't worry about it. We're not going to give any more money to Ukraine."
And that's okay. You know what? That's okay. The U.S. isn't going to. I'm sure that Biden put things.
The other NATO countries have all upped their game on it.
And
Biden signed over several of our military bases that are in that area. They signed them over to other countries to take over and run, so that Trump and or Putin can't use them against Ukraine. They've now been turned over to other countries to protect Ukraine and Greenland.
Oh, and Greenland. I mean,
because you've got, there are 5 or 6 of the NATO countries that made a major statement the other day that they are readying troops to go and protect Greenland from us.
France.
If he decides that we're just going to go take it, because evidently he got on the phone with the prime minister of Greenland and proceeded to tell the man, no, we want it. We decided we want it. That's what I want. So you're just going to give it to us. They're like, no, it doesn't work like that. Oh, well, yes, it does, because I want it. So that's what we're going to do.
Right. And push
And it
them.
was the next day that you started getting all these other countries saying, we've got we're ready in troops to go in and protect
You're
Greenland.
absolutely right. You're absolutely right. And I loved hearing that. But France came right out and said,
No.
France has always been a great ally of ours. But for Trump to come in and start something up like this, apparently he wanted to do something with Greenland back in 2016. I missed that with all the other horrible crap
Yes.
he was doing.
Yeah.
And, I just missed
We
that.
wouldn't have won the Revolutionary War without France.
Mm-hmm.
We would still be a colony of Britain, if not for France. You know,
And don't forget, Greenland is a sovereign country. You don't take over a sovereign country. You don't bully a sovereign country. He is trying to be the big man on the block, right? With the chest puffed out, and I'm going to do this, and I'm going to do that, and so on and so forth.
And you can't do anything to me because I got blanket immunity. I can do any damn thing I want. He also wants to go into Mexico with troops because he wants to clear out the cartel in Mexico. This is not going to work.
Oh, Scheinbaum done give him
Mexican.
what for if he even thinks about bringing a troop near Mexico.
Yeah.
That it's
Mexicans are
going
going to
to,
stand up
you want
against
to talk
that.
about a war? There'll be war on the southern border for sure. I mean,
Yes. As well as maybe on the northern border, because you know what, where the Canadians
exactly.
are primarily, we like being the peacekeepers of the world. NATO, it happened as a result of Canadian efforts. They a lot of the peacekeeping efforts that go on in the world have Canadian soldiers, right? We like everyone to get along. So just because we may not be vocal, we may not be arrogant, we may not be pushy, doesn't mean that we can be pushed around. There is in a lot of us that quiet resistance that, you want to F around? Come on, I'll take you on. Like I can survive up here. You can't. You can't. There are other countries that if they had to choose between, standing up for Canada or standing up for the US, they're going to stand up for Canada because they know that we say what we mean and we mean what we say. Right? There's nothing wishy-washy about that. Now we are at a point where we're looking at electing a new leader for the Liberal Party. We're looking at having an election. We've got a guy running who is basically Trump 2.0, and our job now is to ensure that
keep him out of office.
It may not happen, and if it doesn't happen, then our next job is to ensure that he does not have a majority government, that he has to work in tandem with others who can keep him in control until all this kind of blows over. So it's not just a US problem, it's a worldwide problem.
It's global. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Got to take the money out of politics, and the career politicians who get rich off of the people that they are supposed to represent.
Yeah, if they're in Congress, no matter what branch, they should not be allowed to own stock.
No.
I mean, if you got money in a 401k somewhere that's just sitting and doing whatever they do in the 401k, that's one thing.
Yes.
But not to play the market. That should be illegal right there from the get-go.
Yes, and you don't come into office with a whole lot of money, because it should be an even playing field, right? A senator.
Personally, I think they shouldn't make more money than what their constituents in their states make on minimum wage. If minimum wage is in your state is $7.25 an hour, then your representative ought to not make more than $7.25 an hour. And they better damn well show up for 40 hours a week and not none of this 15 hours and I'm going on vacation. Bullshit. You know?
Yeah.
I,
But those are all things that I think we can bring to the table when things go sideways and we are able to rebuild. Then those are the things that we can look at. Public service should be a career choice because you believe in serving the public.
right.
Not as, well, I'm going to become a lawyer and this is an easy way for me to get influence, and I'm going to get myself into this and I'm going to be on that committee and I'm going to start making money hand over fist and blah blah blah. No, your salary is capped. If you cannot live on that salary, then maybe you need to leave government and join the public.
Being in government should not be a
No.
a get rich quick scheme.
No.
By any means.
No. And I think that they're the elected officials you should be able to recall them if they lie about something, if they made certain promises and they're not going to carry through with those promises. You should be able to recall them and say,
just like it, in my opinion too, just in my opinion, it should be mandatory that they hold town halls at least once a quarter all across their state, so that the people in their state can actually talk to them face to face and ask them questions and demand answers.
Mary
Instead
Spirit,
of this,
I like that comment.
Yeah. And I wanted to say, we don't, we're getting kind of near the end of our time on here today, but about the election, we haven't really talked about that. And as far as Kamala, right now, I am just putting that whole thing on the back burner, because as soon as I start thinking about her, it confuses me about all this other nonsense that's going on. But yes, I do.
She's still wounded. She is. Every time I read on her, I still pick up a wounded heart. She's healing and she's getting stronger, but she's still wounded. And for whatever reason, they would not let her fight back when this crap happened.
Well, because she didn't have the documentation. She didn't have the stuff that she needed to make a difference. It sounds to me
otherwise you sound like Trump 2.0. Oh my God, the election was stolen.
But it was. It really was. She was robbed. She was definitely robbed.
Case it was. Yeah.
And the this person Mary's talking about that there's some results that they're getting now, and that and if they can prove that, it will change everything. It will change everything. There's just a couple of huge big things going on right now. This stuff with Trump and all his nonsense, then the stuff with the election, then with Kamala, you're like, how can that possibly come together and work out? And that's what's coming up that is so different. So it's not, it would just, we just haven't seen it before. We don't know how it's going to work out. Then we got all these other countries that are going through the same thing about election interference. It's a lot. It's a lot. But I still think that, I don't know. I think February is still going to be a month of still playing his games and throwing stuff out there to freak everybody out, and everybody coming, everybody siding with him. It's just so irritating to see. They're doing it because he's wielding the sword. He's the one that can make all the difference right now. But I also see him fumbling, that his dementia seems to be getting worse and worse.
Oh, yes.
So at what point did they finally look at that and go, well, wait a minute, maybe he's he's saying all these things because, not that he really wants to do it, but he's nuts. He says one thing today and a different thing tomorrow and a different thing after that. And but I'm so happy about these governors that have stepped up. And as far as the election results, it could be something that changes everything, but they have to have the numbers, they have to have the documentation, they have to be able to back it up. And we know that it was, a screwy, illegal thing that was done. I don't really know exactly how, but I hope that what Mary is talking about is true and it could work. And then, we're still talking about stuff like decertifications and, Harris won in a landslide. This is what I had said all along until the election came. And I thought, well, what happened? And that's when we knew it was stolen, but all these different things coming into play. It's just, I don't know if it can come up that fast. I don't know if it can come up by March. But there's going to be a lot of stuff happening, and
I keep getting between March and June. Whenever and I'm not real good at time either, but the few times I've tried to pull it, I keep getting like the numbers 3, 4, 5, 4, 5, 6, right in that area. So when I started thinking about it, it's like, okay, March to June, so that springtime, going into summer.
That'd be fine with me, just so it happens.
Yeah. And I know yesterday I did, like today, the political energy thought that I did on my drawing, I went, show me something good. Show me something we can put our hope on. Yesterday, I was like, okay, what the hell is going on and where are we? Oh my God. It was like the tower card. I can't even remember all the cards, but the last card was, what's the outcome? Was the tower. And I thought, well, crap. We're going to have to knock it all down and start over again. And I think that's what it's going to come to in a lot of respects, is literally knocking it all down and rebuilding it the right way and putting the right rules in place, not just a gentleman's rule that they're going to agree on, but make them actual laws. You cannot do this. You cannot do that. You're only allowed for this, that, or the other,
Well, I just want to say for everybody that's listening to this that things will get better, but in the meantime, it's not going to get better. It's going to be this rocky road of craziness, of unpredictable things that Trump is throwing out there just willy nilly, and it affects everybody, and it gets really scary. Don't freak out. Because just like, when he said, okay, no more federal funds for anything, everybody was like,
you're going to see somebody freak out. Take away my coffee. You're going to see somebody freak out.
Yeah, and of course it does, and then they turn around and say, oh, no, never mind. Yeah, big joke. It's not gonna work out that way. But what I do love is that knowing that all of us in this, if you're a Democrat, if you're for democracy, which I think everybody here is, that it's not our lesson to learn. We already know what the hell's going on. We already know what the right thing is. We already know the difference between right and wrong, and that this president is just out of his mind. But the mega people, the Republicans, the followers, the ones that have dipped into that Kool-Aid, they are the ones that have to learn the lesson. And unfortunately, we have to ride the wave. We just have to, because it's, in order to fix things, we have to go through this process.
Yes.
But it will be fixed. It will get better. Yes. I don't know the timing on it. Probably pretty soon. And so anyway, you know what?
What's broken, you don't know what to fix, and you can't just go in there and start changing things willy-nilly. You got to figure out where the flaws are, and then sure things
exactly.
out. Unfortunately, that's what we need.
It's like when my husband used to work on somebody's washer or dryer or dishwasher that didn't work, and he'd have to take it apart, a gazillion pieces all laid out on the floor, figure out what wasn't working, and then put it all back together again so it would run like new. Now that baffles my mind how he could do that. I watched him do it for decades, over and over and over again. But I get the feeling it's going to be very similar to the same thing. We're going to have to dismantle and break things down into a gazillion pieces so we can see what's broken and fix and or replace it and put it all back together again so that it works the way it's supposed to work.
Well, once again, I want to thank Marina and Sherry for joining us in this today. I love the Golden Girls. We just had a good
Thank you for
time.
hosting tonight.
Yes, absolutely.
And
don't forget everyone to like, share, and subscribe. Make sure you give a thumbs up and subscribe to Cleo, and then go over to Sherry's channel, do the same thing on there. And then while you're at it, go over to my channel and do the subscribe over there. It doesn't cost you anything.
Please.
In fact, until midnight tonight, it is free. Take my word for it. Okay.
Yes, please do subscribe to my channel. Yes. And thanks again, everybody. I love your input. You guys are so much more informed sometimes that I get off the show and I run to the internet and start looking things up because I didn't know that. So anyway,
who's next up next time?
My channel.
Your channel next time? Okay.
So and that'll be on the 13th.
Yeah, 2 weeks. In 2 weeks. Yeah. All right, everybody. Thanks again. Hang in there.
Bye for now.
Bye-bye.
Bye, everybody.